Hi guys. So I've been trying out the new Wallhack VA-005 Glasspad for the past weeks and I'm now ready to give my thoughts about the pad. I've been maining glass for probably almost a year now and most of that time was with the SP004 that I sadly don't have here currently for comparison, but I have a really good grasp of how it feels and compares to this new one. The main improvements they made with these are really all something I hoped they would do, and some are things that I didn't even know they could improve. First thing that they changed is the packaging, and now these do come in a very nice plastic case that seems fairly secure. Really good for those who are traveling to lands with the pads and all that. It has 4 secure clips on the sides that attach the 2 pieces together, and it has a nice amount of foam inside to keep the pad well protected. One thing they could add here is a carrying handle of sorts to make carrying things easier, but this is still a really nice case overall. On the actual pad, they went and changed the sizing from 490x430 to 510x440, so the pad is bigger now and the thickness is now around 3mm total. It is not the thinnest pad there is, but they slimmed it down around a millimeter. The next improvement, however, really makes this so comfortable to use, and it is the rounded edges. These make the pad really comfortable to use and there is no tug on the sleeve from these edges. I like these a lot. The new surface is also quite interesting. This VA-005 is meant to offer more speed, and there is gonna be a more control-oriented version later on called the CR005. The surface consists of tiny pyramid-like microstructures and it's quite nice and smooth to the touch. There is this slight texture you can feel and it provides just the right amount of feedback through your skates so you have more pinpoint accuracy in your aim. I've used many glass pads, and while some that are super slick surfaces are very comfortable to use, I kinda tend to overshoot a bit on them, so I preferred pads like the SP004 and the Pulsar Superglide V2 for that slightly added texture and feedback. This new surface, however, offers a great balance while being nice and fast at the same time. There is a tiny downside on this new surface though, because it tends to get dirty and oily rather fast, so you might need to wipe it clean more often than other pads. I found wiping it clean after every gaming session to be enough, and luckily they do provide a good microfiber cloth for that in the package. Humidity resistance is above average on this pad, and on normal day-to-day use I find it to be okay, but for gaming I just prefer to use a sleeve for minimal outside factors affecting my aim. This will of course depend on your gaming environment and how humid there is. The pad also has a slightly redesigned base, with the squares now acting like weak suction cups because they are slightly concaved. This pad stays on my desk really well, and I think this change was quite a genius thing to do. It is a tiny change that probably gets overlooked a lot, but it works really well here. With the pad, they also provide you 2 sets of their newer skates, the pill-shaped UHMWPE and their new PTFE dots. If you're taking a closer look at your dot skates after a couple of weeks of use on a glass pad, you may have noticed they of course wore down in the middle and became more flat there. Well, it seems that they have adopted this design so the dots have this same kind of flat middle part straight away. My hunch is that this is to provide more consistency over the usage period of the skates. The other ones are the pill-shaped UHMWPE skates, and they have been improved a lot from the first time I've used skates with this material. They now seem a bit softer, a whole lot smoother, and the pill shape is fantastic on some ice. On my Superlight I had to combine dots and pills to get good balance, but on flatter bases they are really good. So in total you get 40 dots and 24 pills with this pad, which is a huge amount that will last you a long time. I also tried other skates on this and the surface is very accepting of different skates overall. With Jades or Magic Eye skates this is a very speedy pad, but with some slower skates I have a nice amount of additional control. Some glass pads tend to gather more dust more than others, and I'm glad to report that this is not that kind of glass pad. I've used it with some pad style skates, and while there of course is a tiny speck of dust sometimes that I can feel, it is not very frequent. But the more you wipe it, the more it will give you a nice experience overall. One thing I love about Wallhack pads is that they are pretty much constantly in stock after they get things rolling after a new launch. and they are weirdly the few ones that offer solid color options, white and black. The whole design is minimal, clean, something that I can have on my desk and not throw a cloth pad on top when some relatives come to visit, and it is easy to fit on every setup. I just don't get the whole limited drop anime thing anymore, and yeah, Wallhack does it as well, but at least they have some constantly stocking solid color options available. So I really think Wallhack did a fantastic job on this new pad, nice improvements for ergonomics and performance, and while there is a minor smudging with the new surface, it is so easy to clean, it is not a huge problem. With the price that includes the huge amount of skates you get with this pad and the new packaging, I think this is a really good drop and definitely a Glasspad that I can recommend you to try. But thanks for watching and see you on the next one. Goodbye.